In the tabs example, you've seen how to access from some component to its parent component to register the tabs. Of course, you could have also done it in the other direction using the ContentChild decorator. ContentChild allows you to access from some component to any child external component that has been projected with ng-content. And it's more powerful than template reference variables because it allows you to access the child also from the TypeScript side. Okay, let's play tabs now the other way around. I open tabs component TS in order to use this ContentChild decorator. I declare here with add ContentChild of tab component a property tab of type tab component. As always, I have to import this ContentChild decorator to my file. This way, what I have now is a tab property of type tab component, and what the decorator ContentChild does in this case is to find out some tab component inside the component template to assign his reference to this tab property. It is important to say that you cannot use ContentChild and at the same time inject the parent into the child using dependency injection, because this causes a circular dependency that will break your code. So I open tab component TS in order to remove this dependency injection. And of course, this forces me also to remove the usage of the parent add tab method here because now I don't have this reference. But that's okay, because I don't want to add the child tabs by themselves anymore, but I'll do it from the parent component using ContentChild. Okay, then in the parent component, tabs component TS, I'm going to implement the lifecycle event after content init here. After content init, I also have to import it. Now it's over here, and of course the linter is complaining because I have to implement this interface by creating the method ng after content init. I need to use this lifecycle event because only when the content has been already initialized, the parent component can detect the projected child content we want to find with the ContentChild decorator. But important also, ContentChild decorator references only one element. That's why it's called child instead of children. If we had several children, ContentChild will only reference the first one. If you want references to all of them, what you need to do is to use the ContentChildren decorator, and this is something we won't see now, but in future videos. In any case, here I use ContentChild, so remember I'll get one only tab. Okay, here in my after content init, I will console log it. If I find it, save this tab is the name of my ContentChild. Cancel log this.tab, and I will also add to my tabs with this add tab of this tab. So I'm using the add tab method I already had in order to add the single tab I'm detecting with ContentChild to my tabs array. Let's see the results. As you can see, there's only one tab here called timers using all the width, and you can see that it's active because there's the dark bar below that is only displayed when the tab is selected. A more interesting thing is, if you look at the console output, you can see that I can access from the parent to the properties of the child. In the output, I see this tab component with the isActive and title properties, so it is expected that I can also modify the child content. And in case the child component have any method, I would also be enabled to use it from the parent. What else can I do from ContentChild then? Well, I have access to properties and methods of the child, but I also have access to any of its outputs. I'm going to add an output to the single tab so you can see how does it work. In this example, I'm going to add to the single tab component in tab component.ts an output that will emit every click it receives. So it's a very simple output just to illustrate how it works. So I create this add output on click. This will return an event emitter of type void. You should be able to do this by yourself at this point because we have done it several times. This equals a new event emitter of type void, and of course I have to import the output decorator and also the event emitter class here. Okay, so I'll add a new method to emit this event, the method click tab content, and inside I emit the event with this.onClick.emit in order to fire the event. Inside the tab template, I'll make a binding to the click event that will call my click tab component method. So here, my event binding, click tab content. Okay, this way my tab component have an output. I'm going to show you how to access this output from the parent, the tabs component, using the ContentChild decorator. Instead of doing so inside the template as usual, we will do it from the TypeScript side, and in a very simple way, because event emitters are in fact observable objects. So the only thing I have to do from the parent is to get subscribed to the output. For example, in ng-after-content-init, I can do this.tab.onClick, and this is directly the output, but it's also an observable object, so I can .subscribe, and inside I can make an arrow function where I can do something like cancel log, tab content, click, detected. Of course, as the component is being subscribed to an observable, it is important to unsubscribe when the component gets destroyed. So I need to import the lifecycle event on destroy. I tell my class to implement this interface. I need to create then the ng-onDestroy method, and here inside I can remove the reference to my subscription, but of course I'll need to have that reference. So I make this private property tab click subscription of type any to keep things simple, and then I use it in the ng-after-content-init. This.tab-click subscription equals to my subscription, and now in onDestroy I can do if this.tab-click subscription, then in this case this.tab-click subscription dot unsubscribe. If we go to see the results, you can see how this output is console logged every time I click over the tab content. Remember that the tab itself is all its content. So the tab output is firing events on every click, and the parent component has been subscribed to those events by code to console log some stuff on every event. So to sum up, instead of injecting the parent component into the child component, what I'm doing now is to declare into the parent component a ContentChild decorated property where I tell the decorator the type of element, so Angular knows what child do I want to reference in order to initialize my tab property. ContentChild allows you to find only one child component projected with ng-content. If you have more children of that kind, it will get only the first one. The projected content of a component is not available to the parent until it has been initialized. That's why you cannot access it until the after-content-init lifecycle event. Inside this method, what I've done is to add the tab to the component tabs array, and finally what I have done is to create an output on the single tab component so you can see how to subscribe to the chat output from code.